Hi, this is Wanda from Alanda Craft, and today I'm going to show you how to make these lavender sachets from 2 layer cake squares. We've got two versions. We've got the triangles, you'll get 8 triangles, or you'll get 4 squares. So let's get on and make them. Okay, so we have our 2 layer cake squares here. So I'm just going to take one of these and put some sewing lines on it. So I'm going to line it up between the 10 and the 20 inch on my mat because I want the halfway point. You can measure it if you like, it makes no difference how you do this. So just find the halfway, and I'm just going to put a mark on the halfway point, and again down the other end. Now what I'm going to do is take my ruler and find the 1/4 inch line, and I'm going to put that 1/4 inch line on those 2 marks because we want a 1/2 inch space to do our cutting with our pinking shears. So I'm just going to draw that line down there using my friction pen, and then again bring the ruler over, put the 1/4 inch line on my 2 marks that I made at the beginning, and again draw another line. Pen's running out, it's had so much use. Okay, so that, as you can see, gives us a 1/2 inch square space there. Now I need to turn it round and do the same thing again going the other way. So find the 1/2 inch, the halfway mark, and draw my lines. 10. Now if you're going to make the squares, that's as far as you need to go as far as your sewing lines. But we're going to make triangles, so now we need to turn this so it's on an angle and run our 1/4 inch line from corner to corner. Okay, so make sure that the 1/4 inch line is on your corners, and then just draw your line. Oops. And the same on the other side. Now the beauty with the friction pen, of course, is those little errors that I made, I can just quickly iron them off. The material's not holding very well. Okay, turn it round, do the same thing again. 1/4 inch line on the corners. Okay, so now I have all my sewing lines marked, and what we're going to do now, of course, is just go ahead and sew those. But before we do, we take our other piece of material and place it face down. So we're having, unlike normally when you put right sides together, we're going to have the wrong sides together. Because we're going to be cutting this with the pinking shears and we're not turning anything through, we just need the right sides together. So there we go. So I'll go and sew those lines, and I'll come and show you what to do next. So now I've sewn all the lines, and make sure that you back stitch at the beginning and the end. So I started off, I did my cross to start with, and if you were doing the squares, that's all you need to do. And then I've gone ahead and done the triangle. Now you'll see we've got all these ends here are all open all the way around, because that's how we're going to fill our little sachets. Okay, so make sure you don't sew the sides at this point. So we're going to fill these 2 at a time. You can fill all the way around if you like, but we found that things tend to drop out and it gets a bit messy, especially when you're using the powder. And we leave the powder to last because we found that we overfilled some of them and it came out and went into the machine. So make sure you don't overfill. Now I have some lavender and vanilla, some dried rose petals with some rose essence, and this is 50-50 arrowroot and baking soda with some essential oil mixed in with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put a couple of spoonfuls of the lavender And really, that's about all you need. There is a tendency to overfill because you want to keep going, but it also makes it harder to sew. And then just pop a couple of pins in there to hold it until you're ready to sew. And then this one I'll just pop some rose petals. Again, don't overfill. Now I'll go and sew those two together. You can do the whole thing and sew it right round, but I just think it's easier if you just sew two at a time. I'll go and do that and come back. Okay, so I've sewn up along the top here to seal in the lavender and the rose petals. I've used a 1/4 inch seam, and I have gone and backstitched where the 1/2 inch gaps are, just to reinforce the sewing line so that when it's cut it just gives that little bit of more strength to the stitching. You don't have to do that if you don't wish to. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill these two and these two in exactly the same manner, and then I'll come back and show you on the last two filling with the powder. So here we are. I've done the other pieces, so it's all sewn right round now. So I'm now up to these last two pouches, and we're going to put our arrowroot and baking soda in there. So don't put too much, because if you overfill it, it'll just all, I was going to say spew out, but that doesn't sound very professional. It will all come out and go into your sewing machine. So about 2.5 dessert spoons. And pin it well. Okay, and then we'll just do the last pouch. Just shake it down and give it a bit of a feel. You can probably add a little bit more. And that should do it. Because we don't want it coming out and going through your machine. We did that the other day and it makes an awful mess. Alright, so now I'll go and sew that, and then we'll come back and we'll cut them up into triangles. And now we've reached the final step, which is to cut them up into triangles. So take your pinking shears and we're going to cut down that 1/2 inch gap. So you make sure we've left 1/2 inch, so you've got plenty of room to cut and you don't have to worry about cutting your stitching. Okay, so I have, if I was going to leave it in squares, that's what I would have done at this point. Just like that. But we're going to do triangles. And there we go. Quick and easy. Throw them in your cupboard and make everything smell beautiful. Use them in stinky shoes, sneakers. Use whatever favourite essential oil you have, and your house will smell beautiful. And there you go. 2, 4, 6, 8. Quick, easy, and they look good.